Ba, 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 ba.
Dun dun do 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 do.
Ba, 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 ba.
Dun dun do 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 do.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
3 guys and no bear.
Because
Back
Bear's
with
not
some
here.
draft picks.
Because he's
And
a
now
Patriots
here's-
fan, and they don't care because they just pick up
Brandor.
random shit off the street and win the Super Bowl. Hey, how's it going?
How's it
Welcome.
going, everybody?
Welcome to the 2019 NFL Draft special pre-draft show.
Pre-draft show.
Pre-draft.
So,
Pre-draft.
last year, we live streamed the draft. It was just us watching the ESPN ticker. And that's what we're going to do again this year. But now that we have a podcast for all this, we can do a pre-draft show, a post-draft show, in addition to that live stream.
Post-draft, we're that good.
Yep.
Yeah. So, for anybody that doesn't know what this is, or maybe you started watching and you're like, go Browns. Now you're like, what's happening? So, the NFL draft is when...
I just realized what you said there. I was like, what?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that are probably just like, hey, this is pretty cool. And then they start watching every once in a while and like, woo, I like football now. But now it's like everyone's like, here's the combine, the NFL draft, all this shit.
We're
And you're
getting
like,
into the nerdy part of football.
Yeah.
Like, super nerdy
But
part.
still go Browns, though. Still go
Yeah,
Browns.
of course, go Browns. Yeah, absolutely. Come on. Now.
so we may have mentioned in like our free agent special or something. I think we talked about the combine. We're like, we'll mention it in the draft show. So, so what happens every year is that players from college pretty much declare for the draft. So it's kind of like going into the military, except it's for sports and you're going to get paid a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So you declare for the draft, and then you will get selected by any of the 32 NFL teams. And depending on how bad they did, that is where they select in the draft. So garbage teams like the Arizona Cardinals get the number 1 pick. And
number 1, yeah.
it means they'll get whoever they want. Some teams trade away their pick for things like moving up in the draft. So, for example, the Oakland Raiders have multiple first-round picks because they've traded for them. So they get other teams' picks. So there's trades and stuff that happens. But for the base knowledge is that the worse you do, the better draft pick you get for that year. And that's just how it works. So...
Speaking of trading for draft picks, by the way, did you guys see the Frank Clark trade?
Mm-hmm.
Just happened?
I did not.
Yeah.
All right. So,
It's a great example.
Seahawks traded away Frank Clark day before the draft to the Kansas City Chiefs. This is actually when you see a lot of trades happening in this actual general time frame and during the draft, too.
Mhm.
I believe it's called the lead up.
Yes, exactly. So, Frank Clark just got sent to the Chiefs for a 2019 first-round pick, a 2020 second-round pick, and an exchange of third-round picks this year.
Wow.
It's extremely high for Frank Clark, especially when they were sitting on D Ford.
Well,
That's a really good deal for not Kansas City.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
Kansas City seems like they got fleeced super fucking hard, dude.
Maybe Frank Clark won't jump off sides in the AFC Championship game. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, could be.
I mean, you're looking at his stats. He had 9 sacks in 2017, 13 sacks last year, and interceptions. I mean, he's not bad, but
No, he's a good player, but he's
good,
not.
yeah.
He's not like first and second round in consecutive years good.
Well,
I mean,
he's
in my opinion.
He's not only not that, but he's also not this is the year that they're going to have to sign him. Like they're going to have to pay him like $20 million in addition to paying for these picks.
Luckily for you, the Chiefs signed Frank Clark to a 5-year, $105 million contract.
$105 million with 63.5 guaranteed.
Oh my God. And that was, and they traded picks for him. You have D
Just
Ford on your team. Just pay D Ford.
Apparently, we didn't know, but apparently, Frank Clark is basically like God.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like, wow.
Seriously.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that memo in last season, but hey,
Yeah.
Andy Reid loves his defenses, and I hope for him that it works out well. But for everyone else, I can think of a lot more you can do with $63.5 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like, not trade away your first, second round picks.
Like maybe just pay D Ford. Like just do that instead, and you get to keep the picks.
Well, do
I
you
don't
think
know.
they like? Maybe they just didn't want him around. They're just like, yeah,
I
he
don't
jumped
know,
off
yeah.
sides. Fans will be mad. Like, I don't know. But I don't know.
Dude, I have no idea. That's a crazy trade.
Anyway,
I guess he's younger, so maybe that's why. Isn't D Ford like kind of old? Let's see. Frank Clark's 25. D Ford 28. All right. Well,
Yeah, he's not
Maybe
that
not.
much older. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You get draft picks, you select college rookies, and pretty much leading up to the draft, which is Thursday night, is like all these scouting things and combines. So they have the combine, which is where they test all these guys, and they'll run all these different drills. So they do like bench presses. They do like a sprint of like a 40, whatever it's called. So like they see how fast you can run 40 yards in like a matter of seconds or whatever it is.
The 40-yard dash, coach.
Yeah, they also refer to it as the 40-yard dash.
And importantly, actually, as we're learning in the past couple of years, 10-yard splits are actually a pretty important metric to go by, because that really kind of gives you an idea of their acceleration, which is often referred to as explosiveness in the NFL, which I really don't like as a term, to be honest with you.
Got so much explosiveness out
Look
there.
at him explode out of the hole like that.
He really penetrated that hole.
Yeah, he was a little. It's not a big fan of that, but you know, 10-yard splits are good
after
for that.
penetrating that hole, he did the old pull-out technique where he cut it back and cut left up the field.
Wasn't very manly, but man, it looked cool.
And then he spanked that player on the ass with the head of his dick.
He pulled his dick out and got suspended for 4 games for involuntary exposure. So
that's the combine.
So that's
That's
the
generally
combine,
what happens. Yeah.
And what happens leading up to all this is all these rumors get started, and some of them are smoke signal rumors where they're like just trying to, you know, they're not going to take a guy, but they're trying to make it seem like they're going to take that guy.
Arizona.
Yeah. So the big one this year is Kyler Murray. So Kyler Murray was the quarterback at Oklahoma, and he was the Heisman winner. So he's very good. But he also wanted to go play baseball. And then he was like, you know what? I don't want to go play baseball. I'll play football because I'm probably going to make more money. And I think he just wants to play football more.
Yeah. I mean, like, I will say, like, with Kyler Murray, like, this whole thing, there's so much controversy around Kyler Murray, not just with the Arizona Cardinals, but, like, with Kyler Murray himself, right? Because he's another one of those athletes that's coming out of college, and his dad's his agent. And I'm not sure I've seen one time where getting your parent to be your agent out of college has been positive for the player. Like, I honestly, it has constantly been an issue. Now, Kyler Murray was drafted in the MLB draft, and it's not just any pick. He was drafted 9th overall. Like, he was drafted really fucking high, and the A's that drafted him just even offered an even bigger contract for him to keep him out of the NFL, which is for twofold reasons. Like, one, it's like, well, I mean, you know, we drafted him, we should get him. But also, like, that's a big fucking big league team losing their first round pick on a player if he decides to declare, or if he decides to play in the NFL. And then you got to worry, right? Because it's like he kind of jerked around the MLB a bit to get into the NFL draft, and you know what is that? What's gonna happen in a couple of years down the line in the NFL if he ends up in the NFL? So it's very confusing.
Yeah, it is. It's very confusing, and to add to all of that, the team that wants to take him, number 1 overall, the Arizona Cardinals, already took a quarterback last year.
Yep.
Josh Rosen, who
Chosen Rosen.
Yep, he didn't play that bad. Especially,
not really.
Like, sure, he was like not good, but you know, I don't think any quarterback would also be that good in that environment they put him in.
No, yeah.
There's no
Certainly not
offensive
Josh
line.
Rosen.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like in Arizona, they have no O-line, and he was the most pocket passer in that draft. Like,
Mhm.
it's just the worst option there.
Yeah.
Really.
So it's one of those things where you would think they would be like, hey, let's get an offensive line, let's get some weapons, rebuild the defense. But instead, they're like, you know what? What if we just take Kyler Murray? That'll fix everything.
I saw that they're predicting that they're thinking that if they do take Murray, they're actually going to trade Rosen.
Yeah.
Who are they trading to?
Well, there's a lot of teams that would definitely take Josh Rosen. I mean, like the Giants would take Josh Rosen.
But I mean, what do they think they can get for him, though? Is the thing. See what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they're them posturing like they're gonna they might possibly take Kyler Murray. To me, that seems like that really undermines and sort of screws over Rosen if they do try to get any value.
Oh,
for
absolutely,
him.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs just gave up a shit ton for Frank Clark. Who knows what they can get for Josh Rosen?
Yeah,
maybe you go to the Chiefs.
You gotta imagine, right? Like they'd have to get at least a first-round pick for Rosen.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're probably eyeballing like New England's pick or something. Like New England would probably take him, and he was the first. If he goes anywhere, I really don't believe any of that they're actually going to take Murray and drop Rosen. But if they do, then they would need to get at least the first round pick because they just spent what was he? He was the 10th overall last year.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I would be surprised to see them take Murray and trade Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen. But do you think they're actually going to draft Kyler Murray, though, is the thing?
Everybody thinks they are. Every mock draft has Kyler Murray.
But do you guys think that?
Well, here's the thing. I have this weird hunch now, after looking at stuff today, that the Raiders are going to trade up and take Kyler Murray.
I actually would not be surprised to see that happen.
Yeah. So
I can totally see that.
The Raiders apparently sent all their scouts home 3 days ago.
Oh.
Yeah, they just sent them all home. Then Ian Rappaport said that the Raiders are considering some sort of surprise pick that would necessitate absolute secrecy. I don't know what John Gruden's doing, and I don't know how many drugs he's taken. But I don't know what they're going to do. Part of me is like, oh, they'll probably trade up for Kyler Murray. Part of me is just like, are they going to take some random ass are they going to take a quarterback at that just sounds like they're going to trade up and get Kyler Murray.
The 2019 draft, the Raiders select Patrick Mahomes.
You can't do that. John.
It's like trying to capture a Pokemon that's already been captured.
It's everything goes quiet. They're just can we get another 10 minutes then?
Nope, going on number 2. For those of you who are not familiar with the draft process, by the way, it's more cerebral than anything. This is it's the soap opera WWE time for the NFL because all the scouts, essentially everyone who is a scout in the NFL, is trying to screw with the other teams to make them think that they're going to take some odd pick when they're actually doing it in pure secrecy. So you have the fun physical aspect of the actual season, and then the off season and the combine and everything. But the draft itself is 100% cerebral, trying to mess with the other teams. And the fun part for the nerds out there like us is trying to figure out who is going to go where and making mock drafts.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, if you're not exactly sure what the appeal is here, it's breaking down all of the smoke and mirrors stuff that all 32 teams employ during this time of the year, and it's fun as hell.
And you also get to be an armchair GM, which is also a lot of fun. And speaking of which, later on in this episode, I don't know when, I put together a scouting report on 5 of the QBs coming out in the draft, and I'm going to share it with you.
Yes,
so
it's going to be the Alpaca Gruden's quarterback camp.
Rob's Grinders.
Rob's Rack Attack quarterback.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah,
I'm good at naming things. But yeah, the just and to clarify as well, we're also all three of us are probably 100% incorrect in everything we say.
Oh yeah.
But
Like,
it's fun to speculate anyway.
99% of these mock drafts are going to be wrong too, because
Yeah.
The other thing about mock drafts that you have to realize is that most of them don't trade. Most of them keep the teams where they are and pick. And that's because it's just damn near impossible.
It's literally impossible to know who's trading what.
Yeah, exactly.
So unless one of us is actually like a secret actual NFL scout, which
right?
I don't think any of us are. At least I'm not. Of course, that's what I would say if I wanted you all to believe that. So
It's like last year where nobody thought Baker Mayfield was going to go number 1 at the beginning of the offseason. Well, you did, but
Rob did.
Obviously, you're far smarter than everyone.
I'm the best GM ever.
So like if we look back at the NFL draft 2018, just for a little reference here, it was Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb. Those were the top 5 picks. So nobody really knew. People thought Cleveland could take Saquon Barkley, but then they took Baker Mayfield, and you're like, well, the Giants could take Sam Darnold or Barkley, but they went Barkley, so the Jets get Darnold. So it's like, it's kind of this domino reaction of like one guy falls, and then it's like, well, now who do we take?
It's all about value in the end.
Really. Although, also important to note, like within like the first 5 and probably within like really the first 10 to 15 picks, most people know what players are going to be going in those picks. It's just which team is going to take them and when. That usually gets screwed up. So, like for instance, in last year's draft, those first 5 picks, almost everybody's mock draft was putting those 5 players, except for Denzel Ward, in that top 5. So, like, it was, you can pretty much know who's at the top of the class, but when you get a little bit deeper, then it just you just throwing spaghetti at the wall at that point.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're gonna find those diamonds in the rough the later you go. Like Tom Brady wasn't taken until like the 5th or 6th round or whatever everyone likes to say all the time. But like that's part of it, is like you never know when you're gonna find like that dude just randomly who's like, like Lamar Jackson went 32nd overall. Some people had him going as high as like the top 10. Some people were like, oh, he'll fall, to the 2nd or 3rd round. But then there he goes in the late 1st. So it's like nobody really knows. And a lot of these teams make their own draft boards of like, either they draft based on need, where it's like, we need this thing, so we're going to take the best guy available at that position, or they just go for the best player available, where it's like, we don't need this position, but this guy's like the best available, we'll make him fit somewhere, and then, just cut the other dude we have on our team like in a year or 2.
What is this Mickey Mouse Twinkle Toad bullshit going on right now on Twitter?
Oh no! What?
Twitter completely changed their website out of nowhere.
Wait, really? Mine's the same.
What? Mine's the same too.
Refresh it.
I did.
Dude, I'm not kidding you. I was logging in because I wanted to get the latest on the Bucks, like speculations, and Twitter's completely changed on me, man.
Well,
I'm not even joking. I'll take a screenshot and post it for you guys.
Can I just say, by the way, as an aside, because I'm looking through all these mock drafts that you have here, and can I just say I absolutely hate PFF's one, not because I think it's bad, but because of my aforementioned scouting of the QBs. And there's one particular pick which I hate. Now that I've watched some tape on these guys, I'm very angry, and I really hope it doesn't happen.
Well, I wanted to bring up a pick in 2007. It's a good example for what can go wrong. So it seems like, right, like, oh, well, the best team will just draft the best guy, right? That's easy. So in 2007, the Raiders had the number 1 pick, and the Raiders took JaMarcus Russell. Yeah. And you may say to yourself, who's JaMarcus Russell? Probably because you've never heard of him or seen him play. Or you're like, oh, God, JaMarcus Russell. It's one of those two reactions. There's nothing in between. So people were like, oh, JaMarcus Russell, he's got a big arm. He can throw 100 yards. And the Al Davis back then, who's an old man GM for the Raiders, was like, yeah, this guy will just throw the ball 100 yards every game. So it didn't work out that way. He became overweight, admitted to drug use, And in 31 games, he threw 18 touchdowns, 23 interceptions, and completed 52% of his passes. What makes it worse is here's some players that went after JaMarcus Russell. Calvin Johnson. Joe Thomas, one of the best offensive linemen in the modern NFL era. Adrian Peterson, Patrick Willis, Marshawn Lynch, and Darrell Revis.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, if you miss on one of these guys and then you got all these guys like right after, it's like, oof.
It's a big crapshoot. Like, it really, I mean, JaMarcus Russell is like an anomaly in many ways because, like, statistically also, like, if you look at like advanced stat stuff, he's usually pretty high on the advanced stat lists of like all these different advanced analytics on the list of prospects because, like, he really did seem like a great prospect.
Yeah.
But he busted super fucking hard, dude. That's about, like, people consider JaMarcus Russell to be possibly the biggest bust in NFL history. I think the only one who really has him beat is Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. That is definitely true. Another great bust. And I think he was like another drug guy. So I think a lot of these comes down to like their personality, their maturity level, if they're taken. I mean, look at Josh Gordon. It's like another Josh Gordon situation. Like, I feel like those are big things you have to look into, not just like, damn, he ran a 4.54 at the combine. Like, you gotta figure out this guy's all there.
Now is when Bear would be like, Tom Brady 7th round.
You gotta judge the will to win. That will to win out there is not even in a category. It's its own special category. It's in your heart.
Lots of hustle, coach. Lots of hustle.
And then sometimes, as we get further into the drafts, some players that were expected to go high start to fall. I like to think of Derwin James. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a chance to pick him up.
Thanks, coach.
And they let him pass to the point where the Chargers got him, and he became an all-rookie, all-pro safety.
Yep, thanks, coach. We're glad you pulled that one up again.
It's a great example, I think, to really just bring it all around.
It's super.
But yeah, the Cardinals took Josh Rosen 10th. I can see on this list from last year.
There you go.
So yeah, now that we know all this, I think we can talk about the mock drafts that I've linked. So, like we've said, there's every team has, first, second, third, fourth, wherever they're picking, and everybody makes their own mock draft, which is essentially guessing who these teams are going to pick. And I pulled up a bunch of them. There's CBS, Walter Football, ESPN, Roto World. Wait, not Roto World. That was just a thing. PFF and Chris Collinsworth's PFF draft.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore that one.
Yeah, that's so. I figured it'd be fun for Thursday night if we made our own mock draft of the first round, and then probably like maybe the next like 5 to 10 picks of the second round, because that's like still kind of the first round, but it's. So I figured we'd do that, and then we'll just see who's got the best one.
Bless it.
And
are we drafting? Are we drafting for our teams or drafting overall?
No, just overall.
Okay.
Like for everybody. Sure, you'll do your team, but like, I want to see like who, and you can call trades if you want. If you want to be like Raiders trade up, get Kyler Murray something, you can say that. But
we should do a point system, Coach.
All right, we'll do a point system.
If we get the correct listing for the correct team, it's 1 point. If we call a trade, that's worth like 5 points. If we're incorrect, but it's the same position, we get like a half a point.
All right. Can I also add a rule?
Yes.
Can we do maybe the first 10 picks then as well instead? And then like maybe like one surprise and like your team if you're not in the 10? Because like 32 picks is a lot of picks.
All right.
I'm gonna be sitting there. I don't know about you guys, but if that's my homework, I'm gonna be sitting all night watching like tape of these guys and trying to figure out who's best for.
I'm just going to copy someone else's mock draft.
That seems fair, yeah.
All right,
I just know myself. I don't
care. I don't care after the second round.
Let's do top 15.
Okay.
Top 15.
Okay.
All right.
And then you guys want to do like one surprising first round pick?
Yeah, we'll do
don't have or
top 15 and a surprise pick. Like, I got the Eagles taking Fucking, no, who's like Josh Rosen trade? I don't know, whatever you want.
Yeah, sure.
And you can try to predict a trade. If you correct 5 points, if you're incorrect, you don't get anything.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's our homework for 2 days from now.
All right, I will.
We got 2 days to do it.
I will forget to do that. Too.
Yeah.
Better not
absolutely
show
forget,
up
yeah.
with a half-assed shit.
All right, coach. I'll try not.
All right. So one thing I want to point out, looking through all these mock drafts, everybody's got Kyler Murray, number 1. Then they've got pretty much Nick Bosa, number 2, edge rusher, Ohio State.
Yep.
And the Jets is where it starts to get a little wonky.
Yeah.
Some people got the Jets taking Josh Allen. Some people got him taking Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
Some people have them just trading back, which I think is what's most likely to happen.
It would be ideal, but
Yeah,
we'll
you
see.
don't know.
It depends,
So I figure, what do you want, Rob? What do you want the Jets to do? I take it you want
Personally, yeah, I want to trade back. If it's possible, then trade back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we mentioned it last time we did an episode too, but like the thing is, it's unfortunately real life is not like Madden. So even though you have the 3rd overall pick, you might actually just have no trade offers whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it's entirely possible. So it's possible that we have to stick at 3 and take a player, which I just really don't want to go defense first again, dude.
At that point,
Yeah.
you're trading. But at that point, though, in that scenario, you're looking to get a value trade out of the player because you're going to just be fielding trade offers. So you go for like who's the best player available, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. There's a possibility that Nick Bosa falls to us. I mean, there was, before the draft, everybody was like, Nick Bosa, number 1, easy.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa, number 1. There's no chance he drops past 1. And then, I talk to people, I would be like, I haven't really looked at him too much. How good is Nick Bosa? Is he like good enough to go for us at number 3? And everybody's just like, he's absolutely. What are you talking about, dude? Of course he's that good. And now, the day before, 2 days before the draft, everybody's like, well, Nick Bosa could fall out of top 2. He might fall to 3. He might fall to 4. And this happens every fucking year.
Yeah.
Where it's just like before the draft, everybody's like, oh, it's guaranteed this guy. And then it just almost never is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the guarantees are always guaranteed to be wrong.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's the only guarantee you got is the Buccaneers messing up their pick.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. We're looking forward to the Bucs taking a punter in the first round.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got Bruce Arians now. You probably
Yeah.
be all right.
Good old Buck and Bruce. I do have a lot of faith in Arians' draft picking ability, though.
Yeah.
For all the joking aside, Bruce Arians is actually a pretty smart coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
There's
a
a lot.
great coach.
There's a lot of teams who would love to have him as their head coach. So I'm happy.
So,
with his pick.
From
Looking
looking at this, a lot of people have the Buccaneers taking Devon White, inside linebacker, LSU. Some people have Josh Allen falling to the Bucs.
Yep.
And one Chris Collinsworth has Greedy Williams going to the Bucs, and I don't understand that one because every other mock draft has Greedy Williams going in the mid-20s.
PFF actually has Greedy Williams going to the Bucs too.
So he copied their homework.
They're both wrong.
Yeah.
So to give a background on that, very quick background, Chris Collinsworth famously and notoriously hates Tampa Bay. He always has. And that's the only reason why I can ever see him doing a clown fiesta pick like that. I would not be upset with Devon White. I honestly I'm kind of hoping, like, if it comes down to either Devon White or Quinnen Williams dropping, I'd be fine with that. Josh Allen's also real good. So as long as Tampa picks a defensive player, coach,
Yeah.
that's in my opinion, as long as they do that, we're fine. I've got no complaints. But if they draft a quarterback or they draft like a kicker, I'm officially leaving the podcast forever, and I'm converting to a Browns fan totally.
That
All
seems
right.
fair.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
The Bucks, it is almost impossible for the Bucks to screw this one up like they did last year somehow with Derwin James.
It's kind of just like you sit and wait for the best, see who's gonna fall to you. Like, could it be Josh Allen? Could it just be all those guys get taken?
I mean, those three. If we're talking about Williams, Allen, and White, any one of those three, I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick, if I absolutely had to pick, I probably still would go with Devon White, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having Josh Allen. Like if the Raiders stay on the 4th pick, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to, because I think that they're almost for sure going to be trading up for Kyler Murray, and somehow Allen doesn't go number 4, I can definitely see the Bucs picking up Josh Allen. If the Raiders stay at 4, I can definitely see them taking Devon White as well. So one of those two things I think are going to happen. But either way, as long as the Bucs pick one of those 3 guys, we're solid. We're golden.
Yeah.
But they probably won't.
I agree with that. Now here's the thing with the Packers I want to mention with Chris Collinsworth. He says, well, he has them taking Ed Oliver, which I'm like, all right, whatever. I like Ed Oliver. He seems good. But he says, I'm always tempted to think receiver for the Packers, but Oliver is just too good. And I was like, okay, what receiver are you going to take, Chris Collinsworth? So the only receiver he has here is DK Metcalf going to the Jaguars at 7.
At 7?
What?
Yes, at 7.
Okay.
And I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, I doubt that very highly.
In fact, DK Metcalf he's either going to be amazing like Calvin Johnson, or he's going to be like a bust. Like I feel like it's going to be one or the other. Like some of the other mock drafts I've looked at have DK Metcalf going like late 1st round, mid 1st round, like early 2nd round, like 7.
Yeah,
like I just
drafting him top 10 seems really high. The thing is, like, I could see why, because DK Metcalf. Oh, actually, here's another common draft thing. This happens every year too.
Okay.
You have combine stars. Combine
Yes.
stars happen every year, where a guy ends up at the combine who was not slated to be high in the 1st round or even just high in the draft in general.
He's got an amazing vertical.
Right, and then they like blow up the combine with amazing metrics, and people are like, actually, maybe we should pick him. So DK Metcalf was that guy this year. I feel like I think he was the one, really. And I won't lie, his fucking numbers were
What was his
insane.
40 time?
4.33, and he's like 6'4".
He ran a 4.3.
He ran a 4.3.
it's
He's like
insane.
6'4", and he's like 230 pounds. Yeah, it's madness. Like it's actually just stupid numbers. Like which is why he's enticing. The problem with Metcalf before the combine was that like, well, the mechanical things aren't all there yet, and maybe they can be, or maybe they can't. But now that he runs a 4.340 at like 6'4", 230, people are like, well, we can fix him. We'll fix him, because if you fix him, he will be the best receiver in football. Like, damn near guaranteed. If you can fix the problems, he is so big and strong and fast that anything else will wash away. So
yeah, like I was looking at the Walter football draft. And I like reading him. I read a lot of his stuff.
Yeah,
and he
Walter
had
football's good.
DK Metcalf didn't look like a number 1 receiver at Ole Miss, as he was unproductive while running poor routes. However, he posted elite numbers at the combine, so now everyone's like freaking out. But he actually put him to the Packers in the 2nd round, and I was like, I would be happy with that.
Yeah,
like,
that'd
using
be
a
great.
2nd round pick, early 2nd on DK Metcalf, because it's like, Aaron Rodgers will teach you how to run routes. Devontae Adams, I think he could learn from that. But like 7?
Yeah,
How much whiskey are you drinking, Chris Collinsworth? Because that's like, he's like Nick Foles. Okay, here's his analysis. I think Jacksonville's gonna try and make Nick Foles look great, and they're gonna need a legitimate deep threat, which Metcalf certainly is. He's not a great route runner, but Foles is a deep passer, and Metcalf can go get it. That's what he said.
The one thing that I will say in defense of Chris Collinsworth and pretty much everyone that we're going to shit on today is, as we even just said, the draft really is a crapshoot. You have no idea who's going to be good and who's going to be bad.
Yeah.
There are very, very few players that come out and everyone's just like, oh, he is guaranteed to be good. Like
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was one of those guys where it was just like he is guaranteed to be good, and he's good. Like
Yeah.
that worked out fine. I think last year you had that guard in that actually went to Indianapolis. What's his face that they picked up?
Oh,
in,
yeah.
Quentin
I
Nelson.
know you're talking. Quentin Nelson,
Yeah,
yeah.
Quentin Nelson. Everybody was just like, you know what? He's just gonna be good in the NFL, and
Yeah.
turns out, yeah, he was. Fucking.
But Rob, don't forget the famous Manning Leaf draft. They're both good. They're both guaranteed to be good.
Well, they were both good, but one team got one of the guys with the first overall pick, and the other team didn't. So, and the second one was the bust. So,
And once again, Bear would be coming in. Don't forget about Tom Brady in the 7th round.
Oh my god.
well, actually, a good example too, like with the Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. I mean, it's not the same circumstance exactly, but it's pretty close. It was Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III.
Yep.
In the case of RG3, he was good. He just, exploded. And
like he actually exploded.
Yeah, like all of his parts just exploded. But I remember watching an interview with him and being like, yeah, like with RG3, and RG3 said like, there's 2 first overall picks this year. And to a degree, he was right. But, at the same time, like everybody was like, RG3 is very, 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 very good. He's likely to be very good, but Andrew Luck is guaranteed. And, kind of turned out similarly. One's still playing, one's not.
I was looking at the 2007 draft again because I remembered. I was like, who'd the Packers take in that draft? They took Justin Harrell. Another, you might not remember his name because he was out of the NFL a few years later. It was one of those, he wasn't, that's one of the things, it's like you get all hyped up, like, who are they going to take? And I remember Justin Harrell wasn't even like a first round projection. Oh. And then they were like, and here it comes, Justin Harrell. And everyone was like, what the shit? Justin who? And everyone just like was like, what? And they're like, I guess he'll be okay. And he wasn't. So sometimes you do get those where they just like take some guy like he was big on our big board, so we just went ahead and took him.
There's a couple of absolutes in the NFL draft. One of them is that the Jets will always hate their pick.
Yep.
Another one is the Buccaneers will always make everyone go, what?
Yeah.
And the Packers will always make a questionable choice for the first round.
That is true.
They do tend to.
Or take another Hall of Fame quarterback.
It could be.
Did you see that thing with Aaron Rodgers I linked? That was actually a crazy draft story.
No, what?
So one of the top scouts or like members of the Packers board draft team was talking to Gary V, a marketing dude.
Oh, and, I fucking hate Gary V, but go on.
Well, he was talking to him about the Aaron Rodgers draft. And he is like, we were in our room and all these guys were taken off the board, right? Like we're just sitting there and we're watching everybody get drafted. And they got to Aaron Rodgers and they're like, this guy's the only guy that's like a first round projection that we have left. Like they had no other first round players that they wanted to take. So they were like, we'd like to trade down because we don't want to just take him and then be like, hey, Brett, we're replacing you. But they're like, all right, so we're going to like try to trade this pick. And if anyone wants it, we're like open to listening. And he's like, we sat there for 10 minutes and nobody wanted it. He's like, we would have taken like a second and a third, like a second and a fourth. And like the phone didn't even ring. And he's like, we had Aaron on the phone.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And he's like, we had him on the phone. He's just like, are you going to take me? And he's like, just hold on. Like they're waiting to see if there are calls. They're like, all right, just take him. It's insane. Like that's the type of shit that happens on the draft day. Like you never know what's gonna happen.
I can imagine going like, sorry, Aaron, it was like you're breaking up. Into a tunnel.
Oh, Aaron, I really
anybody want a Hall of Famer? No? No? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a great example of like no one knows who's who or who's shit or who's what. Like
literally is just a guessing game.
And at the same time, you don't even know if he would have gotten to this level without sitting behind Brett Favre or having that chip on his shoulder or
even just having Mike McCarthy there. Like there's so many factors that play into whether a guy's a bust.
The draft essentially, to put it in video game terms, essentially is the start of the butterfly effect. Like this is the multiverse that we go down, because you can start speculating like, well, if Rodgers didn't go beyond Favre, maybe Favre would have stayed in the league more.
And hence the nerd. Yeah, this is the nerdy part.
Welcome to the NFL draft, everybody.
It's
now, Coach
great.
Krendor, who are you looking to get in the first round? Because we haven't heard your actual want yet.
Yes. So what I want is, I'm kind of pretty open. Like, some people got the Packers taking TJ Hawkinson, the tight end.
Right.
I would like that. I'd like a tight end. We could use one of those very much. We haven't had a tight end really since JaMarcus Finley, like 10 years ago.
Good old JaMarcus.
Good old JaMarcus Finley. Even though he dropped a lot, he still was kind of crazy.
He was good.
Yeah. It's possible that the Packers move up because we do have the Saints pick at 30. So, I mean, if we package like 12 and 30, I'm sure we could move up to like, 4 or 5.
I forgot they had 2 picks this year in the first one.
See,
I don't know if you can move to 4 or 5. I think you can move into the top 10, but
it would depend on who's available, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not going for a quarterback. We'd be going for like a Josh Allen or a Quinnen Williams or a one of those players.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you might be going for a quarterback. I mean, you probably not in the first round.
I don't see him
in the
doing
first round.
I don't, but I mean, he's getting up there, Aaron Rodgers. He's 36, right?
Would you go for another receiver?
No, what I would do is you go either that or you go offensive line.
Yeah.
So it's either you're getting a tight end, which is going to be a weapon for Aaron Rodgers, or you're going to block for Aaron Rodgers. Like, those are the two things I'd be happy with. It's like anything that's going to help Aaron Rodgers and the new coaches, non-prehistoric offense. I'm very excited for.
You've got Noah Fant from Iowa too. He's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, he's the other tight end guy, which is why I think they could probably take an offensive lineman and then get Fant maybe a little later. Like, they could maybe get him like the late second.
Go higher.
Yeah, so I think I think either they take like Fant at like 30, or they could also there's like Paris Campbell. That's like far late first round. That's a wide receiver, Ohio State. Everyone likes. Like there's a lot of things they can do. I think they're definitely going to go either pass rusher or offense. Like, I think it's just one of those two. And then I think second round is more likely they'd get a wide receiver.
Yeah, my question was for the second first round pick for wide receiver, not the first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think
not the 12th pick, but the 30th pick for a wide receiver.
Yeah, I think they could take Paris Campbell, the Ohio State wide receiver. That seems like a pretty popular thing. Everyone's got them taking. And then either that, I mean, they could take DK Metcalf there too. Like, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not with the first pick. 'Cause I think the first pick has to be like a big game changer pick, like a star tight end or a star like offensive lineman that's gonna keep you upright, or a pass rusher that's gonna make game changing plays.
No matter who goes where, I think we can all universally agree that whoever drafts Rock Ya-Sin is going to win.
I literally just showed Jess that name because I saw Rock Ya-Sin. That is so good.
That's got to be your new favorite NFL player, Rock Ya-Sin.
That's so good.
I mean,
his name is literally Rock, like a rock, then Y-A-Sin.
Yeah, it's got a hyphen, and it's amazing.
Someone watched a lot of Naruto when they were.
It is. Oh my god, that's a great player.
Oh yeah.
The other one, a lot of people had the Packers taking Rashawn Gary, but now Rashawn Gary's got like a labral tear, or however you say that, in his shoulder, and they're like, well, he played college with it, and it's like he'll only need surgery a year from now, and everyone's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Coach Krendor, would you like to have this new car? It only got in an accident one time.
Yeah, I'll think about it. So I think he's gonna be falling to like the second round or something after that.
It just shows you how devastating it can be as far as like in terms of luck goes. I'm not talking about Andrew Luck. I'm saying like overall luck, because if you do get injured anytime before the draft, you are tainted forever. It doesn't matter how good you were. But injuries will just be it. I mean, it shoots a term that you'll hear a lot is you'll hear the stock of a certain player rising or falling. For those of you who end up watching the draft on television, you'll hear constantly the analysts talking about a player's stock going up or down, and that is one of the factors that heavily favors in the idea that a player's stock is going down because they have either pre-existing injuries or ongoing injuries. So in other words, you don't want to draft a used car. You want to draft a new car.
That's why a lot of QBs don't play in their last bowl game, you know, with whatever team they're on. And some people on the internet like to call them like, oh, they're little babies. They're not good. Like, motherfucker, they have a chance at like millions of dollars that they could throw down the toilet by playing in a game that scouts don't even really
College
care
players don't get paid, period. It doesn't matter if you win the Rose Bowl or not. You don't get you get paid zero.
Which is honestly pretty dumb.
Yeah, no, it's super dumb.
We've all seen that South Park episode.
Yeah, it's a dumb thing. One thing that I think is interesting, there's no big running back this year.
Yeah.
Looking through.
It's usually every year there's a generational running back.
Yeah.
But
not this year. I guess the top is like someone had Josh Jacobs from Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's about it.
Yeah,
that's probably the weakest position of the draft, to be honest.
Going back, looking over last year's drafting, like now that we're a year removed from it, last year had an amazing draft class, and we were all sort of like, I mean, less so Rob, but Coach and I were more negative towards the overall class. But then you start going back and reading some of the names, and some of them are already marquee players. I mean, Mayfield even going on, you know, and Saquon Barkley and everything. So
Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson.
Even
Derwin
Josh
James.
Allen. He hurdled a man.
He hurdled a man, Coach.
No, for last year's draft class looked fantastic, especially at QB, which I'm gonna be honest with you, looking at my own scouting report, not so great this year.
Even Leighton Vander Esch, or however you say his name with the Cowboys, like that's a pretty good linebacker to get at 19. And then the Colts took Darius Leonard, practically like a rookie of the year in the second round. Yeah. I mean, Lamar Jackson started playoff games. Like, seriously, even the Packers. Playoffs. The Packers traded down and got Jair Alexander, who's easily like the best corner I think we've had in years, like since Charles Woodson and Al Harris. Like, and we traded down to get him. That's how we got the 30th pick for the Saints. So I mean, like, you don't know. Like, I'm very happy with that.
Exactly.
So.
People I've seen, I've been looking at more drafts here. If we go back to this year's draft, and every it's still just Murray Bosa. But where like what like Crendor was talking about earlier, where it starts to deviate a lot, really does come down to the Jets pick.
Yep.
But how bad do the Jets need someone on defense?
So here's
like
the thing.
For the line versus like the secondary and stuff.
So most people are mocking us with an edge player at 3 or Quinnen Williams, and which is an interior defensive lineman, right? So edge is outside on the defensive line, interior is interior, obviously. That is probably our biggest weakness on defense right now is D-line. So it's a need. It is a need for us. The problem for me, and this is partially because of my bias as a Jets fan and having to sit through 8 fucking straight years of defensive players in the first round, that I want an offensive player because we have issues on offense too. Like the number one being offensive line. So we need to seal that shit up. And unfortunately, with the draft, it can be pretty hard to get a later round offensive lineman. Yeah. A lot of the time. So we need offensive linemen. We need a wide receiver. We need like there's a number of needs on the offense that I feel like are more pressing. Well, I don't know. See, that's the thing, right? Because like edge pass rush is considered like the second most important position behind quarterback. Yeah. So if you get a superstar there, then you're pretty much set for like 10 years, which is great.
Unless you trade him to the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have rephrased my question. If Rob, if you were calling the shots in the war room,
yeah,
who do you take for the first 2 picks for the Jets?
Oh, it can be positional.
It can be positional, or it can be like you can name the player. I'm curious to see who you're taking since you need defensive stuff.
If we're not moving, then
assuming you're not moving, yeah.
assuming that we're not moving, then that means that we only have the 3rd overall pick and then a 3rd rounder. So if we're not moving, then honestly, I would be pretty happy with Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, or even Josh Allen. I'm not in love with any of them because of, like I said, my preconceived bias against the defensive players right now. But all of them are very good, according to like draft experts everywhere. Like everyone's just like, these guys are really, really fucking good. So if we end up with one of them, that's fine. And then in the 3rd round, we'd have to go O-line. Like you just have to, or something like, or like take a wide receiver. Those are the 2 that I think is possible in the 3rd. But if we have to stay, then I can sell myself on having, Quinnen Williams, who's potentially the next Aaron Donald, or Nick Bosa, potentially the next Joey Bosa.
The only reason why I even asked that is because I entertained a crazy thought of what's the next team in the draft after the Jets that absolutely needs a defensive player.
Yeah.
Who isn't the Raiders? It's the Bucks.
Yeah. I mean, you guys could trade up with us.
That's what I'm thinking. I would not be surprised to see if Tampa wanted to go up to the 3rd pick, assuming the Raiders don't move, which I'm pretty sure they're going to. But besides the Raiders, assuming that they do decide to trade up for number 1, I would not be surprised to see the Bucks trade up to the Jets for their position.
And this is why it's hard to guess trades, right? Because it's hard. It would depend on so many factors, right? Because if the Cardinals take Kyler Murray, well, all of a sudden the draft completely changes, right? Because then the Giants don't necessarily need a quarterback because they might be trading for Josh Rosen, or maybe they're not. Maybe they want Dwayne Haskins, and then with the Niners at number 2, that pick suddenly becomes very valuable, and they could trade back, but they probably won't. So they'll probably end up taking Nick Bosa or Josh Allen or Quinnen Williams. All of those are possible, but most people mock them with Nick Bosa. And then you're sitting on the third pick, and then you have your choices between like Quinnen Williams and Josh Allen, or even Nick Bosa might still be there. And then the Raiders might be able to wait if they want to get if they want to get the next QB. The Giants might want to move up, but I don't see the Giants are like the only ones that really want to jump the Raiders, it feels like.
Yeah.
And the Bucks could come to 3 if their guy is there. If their guy is still there.
It depends on if they want to get like Nick Bosa or if they want to just wait and let whatever falls to him fall to him.
Yeah.
The Bucks are notorious for pushing real hard in the 1st round when they're not drafting kickers. And the Jets, to be honest, and I'm not doing this to gargle Rob's balls, but the Jets are in a unique position because of just how many people we have seeing going Murray, Bosa 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, in a way, the Jets can play this as if they've got the number 1 pick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain that to people who may not be familiar with just how the power rankings work as far as drafts are concerned. And the Jets are in a really good position at the 3rd spot, especially if they don't care who they get. I'd be surprised if Oakland trades up to the number 4 or the number 3 pick overall, but I would not be surprised at all to see Tampa go up there. Past Tampa, the only other team that I see that absolutely needs someone on defense is either the Bengals or some people are saying the Broncos. I don't know about that, but I definitely would see the Bengals, or even another team that's pretty notorious for making some pretty big power moves early on, Atlanta.
The Redskins could move up.
The Redskins, I think,
well, they're looking for a quarterback, though, I think.
Redskins have done some dumb shit.
They could trade up for a quarterback. I'm talking about specifically people who are teams that need defensive positions here.
I think the highest
that's what the Jets have to offer right now,
Yeah. I think the highest likelihood of trading up right now is, and it really entirely depends on how the draft goes, are the
Giants.
It's all
hypothetical.
Exactly, yeah. The Giants, the Jags, the Broncos probably, Bengals could be another one, and I think that's and maybe the Dolphins. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that I could see getting into the top 5 through a trade. But beyond that, it's going to be really it'll be really expensive to move into the top 5. When you leave the top 10, the values just go like haywire, and you need to give a shit ton, because that's the thing, right? Like we said earlier, in the draft, there really aren't any surefire picks, but there are like the top 10. Most people know that they're going in the top 10, like what players are going in the top 10.
Yeah.
They just don't know the order. So getting into that top 10 is tough. It's hard.
So
and
if you
it's
traded
expensive.
back, say you got to like the Broncos or the Bengals or the Dolphins, like 10 to 15-ish, who would you take then?
If what's his face is still on the board, Jonah Williams, I'd take Jonah Williams. Even though tackle isn't a huge need for us, we actually need a center really more than anything else. I'd probably go with him. If not, I don't know. It's really more of a defensive draft this year. So there's a couple of guys. There's like Jawan Taylor is there. You might want to go with like a wide receiver, but taking a wide receiver that high is pretty stupid most of the time. I don't know. It really would depend. But really, if we're trading back, then actually, another possibility is if we trade back and we're still in the top 10, or even if we're just on the fringe of the top 10, it's probably not a bad idea to go for a defensive lineman, because this draft is really deep in the defensive lineman pool because of that bloat at the top.
Yeah.
So you could get like some really good players as a mid first round pick here in this draft.
There's like Christian Wilkins, Clellan Farrell.
There's loads
Ed
of
Oliver.
guys. And it's entirely possible that those guys will be better than the ones in the top 5. It happens all the time. So, it's a possibility.
I've got about 10 minutes left, Coach, and I got to get out of here. Coach Krendor, same question to you. Who do you see the Packers taking for the first 2 picks of this year?
I'd say first pick, I'm going to throw it up, and I'm going to say they're going to take probably TJ Hawkinson, tight end. I think they need a tight end, and they need to get Aaron Rodgers weapons, so I think they're going to do that. And then the second pick, if they don't take a wide receiver, because, I mean, we still do have, like, wide receivers we took last year. Like, we have Equanimous St. Brown and Jamon Moore and all these guys we took last year. So you never know.
Packers need O-line, right?
Yeah, they need O-line. So I think they would take an offensive lineman. Usually the late first, especially in a defensive-heavy draft, you can probably still get a pretty good offensive lineman, like Greg Little out of Mississippi. There's some other good ones here. Garrett Brad. Well, he's a center. Dalton Risner. There's some pretty good offensive linemen. Cody Ford, you might be able to get that late, but that's what I would do. I think that's probably what they're going to do too. Is just either, and if they don't get a tight end, I think they will just take an offensive lineman like that high because they know they need it.
I mean, it's going to be either Hawkinson or it's going to be Fant. So I don't see any other team picking either one of those before the Packers get a chance there.
Yeah. Some people got the NFL.com as Hawkinson going to the Bills at 9. But I don't know. I don't know what Buffalo would do. Buffalo's done some weird shit too.
Yeah.
So
they've got Josh Allen, Coach.
That's true. They do have Josh Allen. That's really all you need.
Yeah, he hurdled somebody.
He hurdled a man.
Yep.
Well, the big thing is quarterbacks, and so I wanna hear Alpaca Rob's Spaghettio Fiesta quarterback breakdown.
You guys want to hear my scouting report?
The rack attack, QB attack.
Like we said, Kyler Murray's projected to go 1, and then other teams want a quarterback. So I know there's Drew Lock, there's Dwayne Haskins, and I think there's a couple. Well, we'll see.
The ones that I have are Haskins, Murray, Lock, and then I got Ryan Finley and Will Grier. Those are the 5 that I had time to check out today.
Okay.
And so what I did is, in case you wanted to know, I went through their game tape of a couple of different games, and I just watched every pass that they made in each game. Most of them, Will Greer, he's the only one that I only got to do one game on. The rest of them are between, I looked at 3 to 5 games. So it's, and I'm not a scout. But this is just my take on these things. Who do you guys want me to start with? You guys can open it up, by the way, if you want to. I have it. It's sent over there in the Discord room.
I would say just go Kyler Murray, because we've already talked about him the most going number 1.
So Kyler Murray, honestly, first time that I really sat down and watched him was today, and everybody's right. He's very, very good. He's extremely, extremely good. He's absolutely worth the first overall pick, in my opinion. And honestly, in my opinion, he is going first overall. Whether that be to the Cardinals or a team that trades with the Cardinals, I think he's going first overall. In my opinion, he's that good. In my scouting report, what I wrote is that he's fast and elusive enough to save broken plays. So when a play breaks down, he can get out if he needs to. He's got really good pocket awareness. Like, he's always seeing where the rush is coming from, which is great, especially for a guy with the kind of speed that he has, and he's got incredible running vision specifically. So like he'll know how to follow his blockers, he'll know how to hit the hole, he knows how to find the open space that he can go, and he's willing to slide too, which is fantastic. So all of those things are fantastic with him. He's also extremely accurate. Like, very, very, very accurate with his ball placement, which is incredible to watch, especially if we go through the rest of the QBs here.
Well, I've heard a lot of people compare him to Russell Wilson.
He's got some Russell Wilson in him. I think people are making that comparison because he's 5'10".
Yeah.
And he's definitely like Russell Wilson for sure, but he's a little bit more tricky. I feel like he's like a little bit more elusive because he's short, and people use that as a knock against the QB. I actually think it might be the opposite in his case, because here's the thing: every quarterback throws into lanes. It doesn't matter how tall they are. It doesn't matter if you're fucking Brock Lobster and you're 7 million feet tall. It doesn't matter, because you're always going to have to throw into lanes, because the other guys have arm length to increase their height. They can increase their height by like 3 feet with your arm. No QB is 10 feet tall. So talking about size as if they're going to get too many balls batted down just makes no goddamn sense to me. In his case, I think the defensive lineman, there were a couple of plays in college where the defensive lineman just could not find him in the pile, and he broke out and made some plays with his feet. So, I think that's great for him with his size, and he's quick. He's not like Michael Vick fast, but he's very fast. And he's quick. He can make decisions very quickly. Like
Pat Mahomes has some of that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's definitely more. He's definitely quicker than Mahomes. He's closer to Russell Wilson for sure. As far as like negatives, he does hold the ball low and away from his body, which is a fumble concern. You really don't want to do that, because if a guy comes in, swings their hand out, you're just going to drop the ball. The other thing about him too is he runs very dangerously. Now, that doesn't, in this case, I don't mean that he doesn't slide, because he does. That's great. However, when he runs with the football in one hand. You really, really, really don't want to do. And he's also not tucking it. Like, he's holding it out with one hand.
Oh, yeah.
Huge problem that needs to be changed. But coaches will be on him about that. So I'm not, as far as a knock, not that big of a knock. He usually doesn't run too early. Like, he's pass first 99% of the time. Like, he'll try to, he's looking downfield. He moves through reads extremely quickly, better than anyone else in this draft by a long shot, in my opinion. You see him in those plays, like he's bouncing between reads constantly and looking for the best target. And when he finds that target, he'll fire that ball very quickly. The other thing that is somewhat of a negative with him is he plays with a little bit of arrogance, which is great sometimes. Most of the time, really, for a QB. And what I mean by plays with arrogance is sometimes he thinks he's more athletic than he is, or sometimes he thinks he's more accurate than he is, and that gets him into trouble because sometimes he'll throw into triple coverage. And a lot of the time, it actually works out because, like I said, he's very accurate. But sometimes it doesn't, and you never really want your QB.
That was a classic Brett Favre thing.
Oh,
to
yeah.
do, where he'd be like, I can do it.
Yeah, he can do it. He's got Kyler Murray's got the arm strength too. He throws it on a fucking rope down the field. And I don't know if you guys have my scouting report open, but
I do.
I read the has OMG balls.
I wanted to bring that up. Yeah, wanted to explain that one. So has OMG balls means like he has throws where my reaction is, oh my god, like that's incredible, and he's the only one that has done that in this draft for me. He's the only one that I had to stop. I had to pause, go back, and be like, okay, I need to watch how that's incredible. So he, in my opinion, is first overall worthy, first round pick worthy. Very much is the hype, and you can believe in Kyler Murray. In my view,
OMG balls.
He's got OMG balls. Have you guys seen any Kyler Murray?
I did not. I listened to him on the radio when I was driving during the championship game, and it didn't make him out to be very good. So I was like, I don't know. But I haven't actually watched him, so I kind of want to watch him now.
I think you should. And in fact, I would suggest that you even watch the Alabama game.
Okay.
Because he wasn't very good in the Alabama game. He had issues in the Alabama, and actually that was a really important one for me to watch, in my opinion, because Alabama has a great defense. They always do, and really that's as close as you can get to an NFL defense.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, even though that wasn't his best game, he looked very good in that game, in my opinion. Like he could make it in the NFL, in my opinion. He can hit those tight window throws when he needs to. So, there's only a few things that I'd really change about Kyler Murray, which is, how he holds the ball, and he's going to have fumbling concerns with the way that he plays right now. But he's very natural at the position.
All right. Well, I mean, that explains why everyone's got him mocked at number 1 then, why everyone wants him, especially because, it's kind of like last year, there was so many quarterbacks, and everyone's like, go to quarterback. Now it's like there's really one good quarterback, and everyone's just like, I want that one.
That's the thing, is that I could roll into Dwayne Haskins, which was before Kyler Murray declared was the first QB on the board, right? For most people's drafts. I'll be honest with you. I would not feel comfortable taking Dwayne Haskins in the high first. I wouldn't take him in the top 10. I don't think.
Yeah. No, you don't take Haskins anywhere near the top 10, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, but he's probably going to go top 10. That's the thing.
A lot of people got the Giants taking him at 6.
And I really think that's going to be a reach for him because, in my opinion, Haskins is pretty developmental. He's got some serious downfield accuracy concerns. To be honest, he's got some just general accuracy concerns. If you look at him statistically, he's one of the best short and intermediate passers. But the thing is, if you watch the tape, he will miss gimmies all the time. Like little screen plays or halfback wheels and stuff like that. He'll be missing those. I mean, he'll hit them more than he misses them. But when you're missing those kind of throws, it doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially in the NFL where like every down matters.
Yeah. And there were quite a few plays that I saw of his where it bounces off the receiver's hands and flies straight up into the air and then gets a pick. Now, you might think, okay, well, that is not really his fault, right? I mean, that's the receiver's fault. They dropped the ball. He hit him on the hands. To a degree, that's true. But another thing that I saw with him was he guns it a lot. And gunning it is great because he's got a good arm. Like he's got a strong arm. He could launch it far and he can launch it really fast with good velocity. And he's got an NFL arm, right? So he can do that. But sometimes he guns it way too hard on plays that do not need to be gunned that hard, and the receivers drop it. And that is on him. That's not on the receiver. That's you like it's like the Brett Favre ball that just goes in like fucking launches a rocket into their chest. There's no way they can catch it. You're gonna break your fingers if you catch it.
Yeah.
The same kind of thing with Haskins. He kind of hangs on that first read a little too long, in my opinion. Like he ends up staring a guy down for a long while. There are times when he's looking off the safeties, and those look really good. But the problem is that he stares at that first read so often that, to me, what that means is that that's a designed look off. But I could be totally wrong about that. So, he's got, yeah.
No, I hate to do it, but I gotta get going. I did want to get to one quick segment, Coach, to break in here real fast. Right, yeah. Just really quickly, because it's gonna be relevant and also fun. So
all right.
So really quickly, I just want to say good luck on the draft, everybody, and I'm gonna go through a new special game here just for today's episode, Coach. Right. And it's going to be called the 3 words or less description of what your team needs and where they sit in the draft. So we'll see if you can get even one of these words right. This is going to be according to the ESPN power rankings.
Oh, okay.
So this is not the Bible of the internet. This is just from ESPN, the not Bible of the internet for football. Coach Krendor, start with you. What do you think the 3 words or less description are, real quick, Coach?
Okay. I would say, well, it's not going to be pass rush. It's got to be like
it doesn't have to. This doesn't also have to be
technical
think about
terms.
The draft. No, it's not necessarily about the draft.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't be. So it's really it's an open bar, Coach.
How about leadership?
Nice. I'm gonna have to give you partial credit on that one. 2 more words left, Coach.
All right.
These are complete sentences, by the way.
All right, let's go with some sort of offensive lineman actually blocking.
All right, that was 4 words. That's okay. No, they actually have welcome Matt LaFleur as your 3 word statement.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
Good.
Welcome,
it was a good try,
Matt
Coach.
LaFleur.
Yeah, that's and ESPN has them at the 14th spot, Coach. So congrats on that. Moving over to coordinator Rob, real fast. Rob, what do you think the 3 word sentence for the description for the New York Jets is going to be, Rob?
Get offensive players.
Close, but no cigar. It's cold, hard cash.
Yeah, I mean, all right.
For the Jets. And I should have let Coach try to guess the spot just because we're going off of totally not accurate power rankings because this isn't NFL.com. Rob, do you see the Jets? Where do you see the Jets in the ESPN post-free agency power rankings?
I'd put us at around 15.
As incorrect, Rob. You're sitting at the 26th spot of the pre.
Man,
of the post.
Every fucking sports media hates the Jets, dude. Hates them.
Well, don't worry because we have the Bucks coming here, and I'll let you both try to guess what the 3-word statement is for the Tampa Bay Bucks, along with the record. Before I got to get out of here, starting with Coach Krendor.
Jameis Winston crab legs. Jameis Winston Uber.
All right, Rob.
Arians going fuck.
Actually, kind of close. It's going all in.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
And where do you guys see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting on this not Bible of the Internet power ranking?
24th.
I'll give you a hint. They're lower than the Jets.
Ooh.
28th.
Yeah, I was going to say 28 as well, actually.
Nope, they're still lower than that. Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting at the 29th spot
Ooh.
in the ESPN post free agency power rankings.
What about the Browns?
Yeah, we can guess the Browns real quick. I mean, I didn't want to come here with a total mini game because I mean these are going to be totally inaccurate. But yeah, so true or false? This will go with both of you, Coach and Rob. True or false? The Browns are ranked in the top 10 of the ESPN power rankings on not NFL.com.
False.
True.
That is correct, Coach. The Cleveland Browns are ranked
Come on.
at number 9.
Oh, wow.
On
So the Jets are
ESPN.
26th and the Browns are 9.
Notable
Yeah.
teams. No, don't question it. Actually, you can question it because it's not NFL.com power rankings, Rob. But the notable teams that the Browns have outpaced in these power rankings, quote, power rankings, the Dallas Cowboys, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Packers, Vikings, Steelers, Falcons, Panthers, Titans, and Jaguars. Notable teams out of that,
Jesus.
definitely the Packers, the Cowboys are somehow. I mean, look, hey, Browns should be number 1. I think we all know that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah.
realistically speaking, anyone who has the Browns listed over the Cowboys or even the Seahawks, the Ravens, we're not going to believe you, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
But I needed to break in there because I need to also break out of here. So
All
thanks,
right.
Hell yeah.
thanks for having me, Coach and Rob.
We'll see you on draft night.
Yeah,
Draft night.
What time are we going? Just so I know.
I believe the
What time's the
draft's-
pre? Are we doing the pregame draft? Is like the pre-draft?
like a half
probably
an hour
show up
before or
half an
something.
hour before. Yeah. So it starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. So 6:30 our time.
6:30.
Okay.
I'll be ready to go, Coach and Rob, and have a good show, and give the Bucks a good word.
I'll give him a good pat on the back.
We'll do that.
While you're doing that, make sure you just take a double barrel shotgun to the back of James Winston's head.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All
No.
right, see you guys later.
All right. See ya.
See you later. So Dwayne Haskins, I believe, is you're saying his biggest problem is accuracy.
Yeah, well, so yeah, here's the thing with Dwayne Haskins, right? Is he really is like a pocket passer, very much like Josh Rosen was last year, which is why it's really funny that Stephen A. Smith called him a mobile quarterback. But anyway,
he's a mobile quarterback.
Anyway, he's very much a pocket passer, and now if you're a pocket passer, that means you need to be nice and mobile in the pocket. He is. He's got good pocket awareness. He's got good mobility, and importantly, he knows how to step up in the pocket. Not a lot of QBs can do that in college. He can step up in the pocket. That's great. The problem is when you get pressure on him and you move him out of the pocket, he seems really bad at throwing on the run, like altogether, and he's nowhere near fast enough to save a broken play with his legs. They do run him a bit on option plays, but it's really not because he's fast, because he's not very fast, but he is very big. So he's kind of got like that early Ben Roethlisberger thing going on, where he's big enough to run. He's not super fast, but he can do it if you need to. But he's not gonna outrun Bradley Chubb or anything. Like they'll chase him down.
Well, do you think he'd benefit from getting drafted by like the Giants then and going like a few years or like a year behind Eli Manning?
I would consider Haskins a developmental quarterback. I gave them I put on my lists here. I gave them all like a what I would rate them as, like what I would call them, and I would say he's developmental. So if he can sit for a year or even 2 years, I don't think he needs 2 years, but if he can sit for a year, he'll definitely do a lot better, I think, personally, because there are a couple of things that he needs to work on in his game. He has all the physical tools, though, and he has most of the way for the rest, too. There's a couple of things that are really going to get him into trouble in the NFL that he needs to fix. And a lot of that is the pocket awareness and being able to throw on the run. Like, he's going to need to do a lot of drills with that. Because he's got some accuracy concerns and he doesn't really hit tight windows super well. Like he can't, he can do it. Like there are times where he makes these great touchdowns and they look fantastic, but they're inconsistent. So he needs to tighten that up. So if this were like last year's draft, he would be going in the second round probably.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which is interesting mainly because so many quarterbacks went in that first round last year. So you're saying he wouldn't even be included in all those. I
would not put him among them. I would have put him above Josh Allen. But but Josh Allen also surprised me a bit last year too. So there are elements of that. But yeah, no, I'd put him above Josh Allen, but other than that, Rosen, Mayfield, and Darnold were all better in almost all categories, because Rosen was a pocket passer too, and he was just more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you'd pretty much rather have Rosen. I mean, my issues with Rosen last year, or before last year's draft, was that he saw ghosts in the pocket a little bit. Like he wasn't great with pocket awareness, and that kind of became true in the NFL too. So
yeah, he's definitely more of a scrambler around. Either he's going to run it or he's got to throw on the run, which I think he can actually succeed doing, and then kind of develop a pocket game by doing that over time and just learning the game. But he needs, things around him. Help, which is what Buffalo's probably going to do in this draft.
Yeah. Haskins needs some time in the cooker, I think. But
so the other one is Drew Lock, and from what I hear, the Giants could possibly even take Drew Lock, or the Broncos really like Drew Lock.
So here's the thing. I was surprised by this one, because when I went and I watched the videos of his game film, I don't know why people are rating him as highly as they are in this draft. Like, a lot of people are putting him as the number 3. I wouldn't touch him anywhere near the number 3. Unless, of course, he's not in the first round. I think he's absolutely not a first round pick, Drew Lock.
Right.
I think, honestly, from what I've seen, I think Drew Lock, his ceiling is backup, because he's lazy on dropbacks. Like he does the Jay Cutler drop back where he grabs the ball and kind of shuffles his feet a little bit.
Yeah, the old Cutler. It's kind of funny, because when I Googled him and the images pop up, he kind of looks like Jay Cutler in some of his like shots.
He's got a little, a little bit of that. Like he's lazy on his drop back, so he doesn't drop back too hard. He's got really lazy footwork. He's got a good arm. Like he can throw the ball real fucking hard. And even here in the report, like he can hit tight windows, but he's very inconsistent at doing it. He can hit the gimmies pretty well, like the free throws. Like he can hit those. Like he hits them like 99% of the time. That's fine. He's got a good enough arm that he can coast a little bit, but not to the degree that he has in college, in my opinion. Now, granted, and I even write this here in the report, his offensive talent doesn't do him any favors. They're dropping balls constantly, and his offensive line is letting rushers through constantly as well. Like his talent doesn't do him any favors, but it's not entirely their fault. It's really mostly him. He'll stare down receivers way too often. He's got really shoddy mechanics a lot of the time. He's got a good big, tall, strong body type. Like he kind of looks like Josh Allen. So, and he can run, so he can be sort of that Josh Allen runner a little bit if he's willing to do that.
Well, to be devil's advocate a little bit, when I looked up the Pro Football accuracy when moved, so throwing outside the pocket, you wrote down not a great thrower on the run, but what this says is accuracy when throwing on the run. Kyler Murray 64%, and that's got Drew Lock at 60%. Right. And Dwayne Haskins third at 38%. So that's a big drop off. So is it like maybe you're just watching like the bigger moment games, or maybe his guys are just dropping things or something?
All of that is totally possible for sure. Like I said, I've only done 3 to 5. I think with Drew Lock, I only watched 3 of his games too. That's entirely possible. But with that said, though, in my report here, as you can see, in my opinion, he's from what I've seen, at least, I haven't looked at the numbers. What I've seen, he looks more accurate than Dwayne Haskins, but not by a huge degree. So I'm not that surprised that he's better at throwing on the run, because he can still hit those shots. But he doesn't have it doesn't look like he's got the sort of that passion for keeping the play alive. He looks like Brock Osweiler out there. And then my biggest red mark for Drew Lock is that he does not step into the pocket. Now, like I said, outside of like Murray and Haskins, and Murray doesn't even step in that much, but outside of those two, the rest of these guys don't do a great job of that either. But in his case, he does it one step further, which is really bad. instead of stepping into the pocket, he'll backpedal. And backpedaling is really bad in a situation where you should step in, because if you're not stepping in and you're backpedaling instead, you basically kill your tackles. Your tackles are not going to be able to block at all, and then you just invite free rushers towards you. And like I said, when he's under pressure, he doesn't throw that accurately. So he's not good enough to not be stepping into the pocket.
Yeah.
That's the thing with him. And he backpedals a lot, and he takes way too many backpedal throws. A lot of the time when he doesn't even have to. He could stand still and not backpedal and throw the ball, but sometimes he'll just backpedal and do it anyway. And when you do that, you throw off your back foot, and it kills the accuracy of the throw. Yeah, you have guys like Patrick Mahomes, whose arm is so good that it doesn't really matter. Like, he can throw from any platform.
Yeah,
Drew Lock cannot. Yeah,
it's kind of like what Aaron Rodgers does as well. But even then, like, saying that, it's like he can do it, but should he do it? And that's kind of like watching every game. It hits that point a little bit where sometimes he'll miss a deep throw, and you're like, if you got back to some mechanics, I think you probably would have made that throw. It's supposed to be like the back out, like, like this play broke down, I can make the throw. Not like I'm gonna do it every play because I'm getting lazy.
Exactly, so. Dude, and that's what I saw with Drew Lock particularly. Like, I saw that a lot. He would backpedal where he just does not. He makes throws harder on himself. He doesn't need to. And I can see where that would come from too. By the way, like I said, his offensive line's not very good, so he might have a little bit of ghosts in the pocket going on, but. At the same time, I don't know. From what I saw, I'm not sure why he's so high on these lists. Personally,
yeah, I think it's got to be one of those things of like people just reaching. They want the quarterback, so they're.
It's a weak class. So.
Yeah. I guess the other quarterbacks. I guess you did Will Grier and Ryan Finley. I know Daniel Jones is another one.
Yeah, I didn't do Daniel Jones. I saw him on a couple of mocks.
Some of them have him going like late first even, or like mid first, like to the Redskins or something, or even the Giants if they traded back. Or I think they might have a pick, the Cleveland pick. They could take him with that. Mm-hmm. So that's a possibility.
I haven't scouted him at all, so I couldn't really tell you anything about him, to be honest. But I've heard good things about him too. I'll probably go back and watch him after this.
Yeah.
But I looked at Ryan Finley. And he honestly would be very. I can go through Ryan Finley very quick. He is good at pretty much everything. He's good at throwing on the run. He's accurate. He's got good footwork, good mechanics. Like, they almost never break down. He's good in the pocket. He's mobile. He can. He's fast enough that he can save a broken play, but not super fast. So he's not like, he's no Michael Vick, but he's super fast. But he's fast enough to be elusive in the pocket. The problem with Ryan Finley is ball velocity. So everything else is great. Ball velocity is not great. He's got a little bit of noodle arm, and that's a problem in the NFL.
It sounds like he's the perfect Patriots pick to go there and throw some like check downs as he like develops.
I was thinking about that actually. Like, I think he would fit pretty well in New England actually.
Yeah.
That honestly, that's his main thing is the ball velocity. He doesn't have a super strong arm, and what happens? This happens in the NFL, but it was happening to him in college too. The ball is hanging too long in the air. Often, like especially on deep shots, and that just allows defenders to close distance. And if that's a problem in college, that'll be even more magnified in the NFL.
Yeah. So
I have him. I said that he's like a fringe starter, because I think that's his sort of ceiling. I think he is sort of a fringe starter. I mean, possibly if he can get that ball velocity up. I don't even know if that's really possible, but if he can, then he would be. I would put Ryan Finley above Haskins, Locke, and Grier if he had a better arm. Like I would put him up there because it seems like he's good enough. He makes reads quickly, but the offense that he was playing with in North Carolina State, from what I saw, was really just kind of old school and really was not emphasizing his talents.
Yeah.
So I think
The old Mike McCarthy special.
yeah, no, like legitimately though, like I think a good coach that can get him and can pick him up on like day 2 or day 3 even, they will be very happy with him. In my opinion, I think he's got the potential to be very good in the future if he can clean up some stuff.
Yeah, I could see the Patriots using like a late second or something on him. Like that's like what I actually think is going to happen. The Patriots use like a late second. I could
totally see that happening. And there's one more QB I scouted, by the way.
Will Grier. I don't even think I've looked up Will Grier.
So this is the one that I had to say earlier that I really hate PFF's scouting report because they make a prediction that Will Grier would go to the Patriots at the end of the first. I think that is actually possible. And not only do I think that's possible, I think I would fucking hate that. Because here's the thing with Will Grier. He's got really, really bad mechanics. Terrible footwork. His release is awful. It's like Tim Tebow. It's a wind up. So, he'll do like the sling it back and throw it. And it's really obvious and it is super long and defenders are absolutely going to get their hands in there and take the ball out of his hands. He's a one-handed runner, so he runs dangerously like Kyler Murray. He's dangerous in all of those things. All the mechanical stuff is fucking terrible with Will Grier. The problem is he's got a very good arm. He's extremely accurate. With his really horrible mechanics, he's like naturally gifted to be a QB. He's one of those guys like last year, like where you have like Darnold or Mayfield, where you see them working that pocket and they know exactly where to move in that pocket to make a throw. He has that. He does that really, really well. The problem with Will Grier is all of that other shit, all the mechanical shit. So I have him listed as hyper developmental. Like he is, you need to fix a lot with Will Grier, but he is a natural quarterback. Like he knows where to go. He makes the right decisions constantly, it seems like. And he throws it with such velocity that it always gets to the target at the right time. He's got a quick trigger, so really he would be he is in my opinion potentially a massive steal if a team can take him with a lower pick and sit on him. If you sit on him and you train him, I think you could get a fucking future star. Like in my opinion, if the mechanics stuff was even slightly better, he's a top 10 pick.
Dang.
That I seriously like that's how much I really liked him watching and important to note, by the way, this is the one that I only watched one video on. So, but in that video, I got to say, like, he looked so fucking good that I was very, very impressed with Will Grier. And I'd be very interested to see what team takes him. And I'd be very mad if the Patriots do it, because if they do, he is perfect for them.
Yeah, I was looking at the player bio they got for him on NFL.com, and he's a highly organized and known as a galvanizing locker room guy. So
perfect.
Like great quarterback.
God damn it. Yeah.
He's plays with an attacking downfield mindset, which is great for the modern NFL.
Yep, very much so. He's incredibly accurate downfield, more than any other guy that I've seen in this draft besides maybe Murray.
Yeah, they say he got his like great pre-snap. He can go through entire progressions quickly.
Yep.
He can stare off the safeties.
He stares off safeties. He makes quick reads, probably the second quickest that I saw on tape besides Murray. Like he runs through every read on the field, like every play.
And that's the biggest one I see is he expedites process to attack when he sees coverage bust flaws. That's like huge.
Yes. Constantly he does that. Yeah. He will find that like I said actually just now, is like he constantly hits the right guy. Like and I even saw him throw it away sometimes. So he'll know when to get rid of the ball too. And he's elusive as well. Like he's very elusive. Like he can move around in the pocket. Like he makes people miss all the time. He's pretty fast too. Honestly, this guy is a potential huge steal in my opinion.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting to see where he goes now. Like learning that, because I was like, oh, Patriots will take Ryan Finley. Now I'm like, oh, Patriots will take Will Greer. Now I kind of want the Packers to take Will Greer at like the late or early second even. Like I don't know.
Honestly, yeah. Like if he makes it to 2 or 3, and again, I should mention, I should have prefaced this, but I guess I'll post face this. I'm in no way a scout. I'm in no way a GM. I'm in no way, you shouldn't trust anything that I've just said, right? Basically, like I'm in no way an expert on any of those things. This is just
back here a year from now. He's like,
right? Yeah, exactly.
If he's just played some game.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but from my reading of the situation, I think that Greer could be a huge steal for a team, and especially a team like the Packers, in particuher. If you could get him on like day 3 or
third round
even
or
day
something.
2, yeah, like third round, maybe 4th or 5th. I think he would be a huge steal for you guys. Like you could potentially maybe even trade him down the line.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be really interested to see where he goes.
We even just need a backup because you don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah. He would be a bad backup. I will say that.
Well, we already have plenty of those, so he'd fit right in.
There you go, yeah.
Can't be any worse. But it's a thing with quarterbacks where I feel like this is a common thing every year where people really break down the quarterbacks, just like, oh, this and this. But then you get a guy like Lamar Jackson, where it's just like, yeah, he knows how to run. Like, how well's that going to fit into the NFL? But when you build an offense around that and he just keeps running and wearing you down, you're like, wow, we didn't even think of doing that. Like, a lot of times it's just like a plug and play type of scenario.
Yeah. And, important to note, last year I was very high on Lamar Jackson. I'll have you know.
Yeah, you got a good track record.
Yeah, I've got a pretty decent one so far.
Yeah.
We'll see if next year, if I'm right about this. Honestly, the one thing that I will say that I was surprised by, because I knew that this draft class was weak for QBs. I was surprised at how weak it was, but I was also surprised to find that I completely agreed with all the analysts about Kyler Murray. He's very, very good. I think he's sincerely like really good. Like he's a first overall pick in almost any year in my thinking.
Well,
maybe not last year.
What did you think about Josh Rosen last year? Do you remember?
Yeah, like I remember the main thing. I think it's actually on Reddit somewhere. I had a little scouting breakdown of a lot of those QBs because the Jets were thinking of taking them.
Yeah,
Josh Rosen was very accurate, and he could hit where he needed to hit. He could hit downfield. He could run a little bit. He wasn't like super, kill you fast or anything. And I wouldn't recommend really running him in options or anything. But if the play breaks down, he can get you some yards. And that's, or if you run him on a bootleg, he can wrap around and he could probably take a big chunk out of you. My main problems with Josh Rosen were pocket awareness. Mechanically, he was like super set. Like he was great on pretty much everything mechanically. Great footwork, great dropbacks, great release. All those things were great. It's just pocket awareness. A lot of the time, what would happen is guys would come on his blind side, and he would have just no idea. And I know it's a blind side, but at the same time, you have to be aware of where the free rusher might be coming from. And the fact that he got hit as many times as he did in college, the ways that he did were frightening to me because, one, it puts him in danger. So you don't really, it's scary for an NFL team to invest a high pick in someone who puts themselves in danger, right? Like that's sort of the RG3 situation.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is something that I can't ever possibly know unless I become an NFL scout is, were those free runners coming because he wasn't making protection checks at the line, or were they coming because his offensive line was terrible? And was he not seeing them because he thought that should have been blocked? Like he counted it and thought it would be blocked. That was my concern with Josh Rosen. I don't know if that's entirely what happened to him in the NFL, but I did see that he was getting sacked pretty heavily, and I predicted that because, like I said, his pocket awareness was the problem for me when I was watching the tape. Personally. So
yeah, like even like looking at some of his numbers, like they're not terrible. Like, a lot of people make it out like, oh, he was so bad. He had 2,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Yeah. And that's playing in like a terrible,
it's an awful
terrible
team.
Yeah.
No, that's not surprising at all. That is actually, to be honest, if you're looking at rookie QB stat lines, that's pretty good. Like that's up there. Like that's really not bad. I know people like to want they want Cam Newton or RG3 or Baker Mayfield, right? Yeah, but those are actually pretty uncommon. Most rookie QBs start like their first year, they'll have like a negative touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah,
that's fairly common. So, it's hard to tell. I didn't watch a lot of his NFL game tape, so I couldn't really tell you if he really is a major problem for them. But it would be really surprising to me to see them just drop him for Murray. Even though, actually, I'm gonna be honest, I think I would rate Murray higher than Rosen.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to figure out is like, is it worth doing this again? Like taking another quarterback and then trying to build around them and then hoping you can trade Rosen for like anything you can get, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you're not trading Rosen pre-draft, which so far it seems like they're not, then you're gonna kill his trade value if you take Murray. You kill it completely because everybody knows you want to get out of that. It just seems crazy to me if they really actually wanted to do that,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I do think Murray is better than Rosen in general because he's just as, if not more accurate than Rosen is, and he can just do more things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's one of those things where this is why I love the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just watched it for, I think, as long as I can remember. Like, I always love watching the NFL draft. It's just like this oddly nerdy, fun thing to watch. And you watch all the mayhem go down. Like, even in Madden, when I played, doing the draft and trading and all that, that's like some of the most fun you can have.
That's among my favorite parts in Madden, really.
Yeah, and I think it's because so much can change. Like, so many of these things can change a team, right? It's like one move can make a team go from one of the worst teams to one of the best teams.
Yep. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Like, legit, if they don't get Baker Mayfield, they're probably not where they are right now. They're probably not even trading for Odell Beckham Jr.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy how just one player can make or break like a team. Even the Colts, like someone like an offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson. Like, most people are just like, whatever, offensive lineman. Like, that dude made it so Andrew Luck didn't die.
Yeah. It was incredibly important for them. Yeah.
And they got him from one of the worst teams to back to a playoff team.
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, huge.
Instantaneously. Massive. Yeah.
Yeah, so you look at some of these picks, and it shows how important a lot of the NFL draft actually is. And even just preparing for the future. Like, I'm happy the Packers got that 30th pick because it's either, another depth pick or it's moving, or it's ammo to do something else, move up, do something, so it's all a lot of mind games as well.
Similarly with the Jets, I mean, last year, now I know the jury's not out, obviously, because it's only 1 year. But I feel very, very happy about Darnold after his one season. Because, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but in the last 5 weeks, I think it was, I don't remember the exact stat, but in the last like 5 weeks, Sam Darnold was like top of the league in QB stats. like in like rating and like a bunch of shit. So like he really did look very good down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play.
Yeah,
against the Packers. I watched that game. He did look good. Granted, our defense was bad.
Right.
So it's
still a toss-up. You never know. But
yeah.
But at the same time, like in that case, what we did last year is we used some of our ammo and traded up, got into 3, and we landed fucking Sam Darnold. And that could be the thing that turns around the Jets. It really could be. So this time of year is so important for football, even though it's like not exciting for a casual viewer or something, you know?
Mm-hmm. But hopefully we're helping to make it exciting.
Yeah.
We want to share our excitement with the world. So it should be fun. We'll see what happens, and it'll be happening Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and we'll be starting 30 minutes prior to that, and we'll see how crazy it actually gets, and then I think we'll do a show next Tuesday. It's like a post-draft thing. So
post-draft, see what the hell happened.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, if you want to watch the live stream, I forgot to tell people where to go.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you or Sinvicta will stream it. I'll be streaming it on my channel.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I probably will. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we'll stream it this year. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll stream it. If we are,
we got the
stream
squad
thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
we'll just do that. So Twitch,
to Twitter and Discords and all that.
Yeah, follow our Twitter, twitter.com. I'll just link them all below. Twitter.com/Crendor, Twitter.com/Alpaca Patrol.
That's the one.
Okay, good.
I'm Rob to everybody. Yeah.
And Sinvicta, Twitter.com/Sinvicta, and then I think that's all our Twitch names as well. Honestly.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So you can just follow us all there. Is Sinvicta, or is he 316?
I think he's only 316 on YouTube. I think.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So yeah, our Twitters and Twitches are the same. Just go look us up, follow us, whatever, and then you'll be notified very easily.
And watch the draft with us. It'll be very exciting.
Yeah. It's very exciting. We can't now. I do want to clarify, we're not watching the actual draft like TV. We're watching the ESPN ticker or whatever is the best ticker, and just being like, let's see what they pick. Whoop! But I'll probably have like the actual draft up on like the monitor muted or something.
Yeah.
That's usually the best thing to do. And then you can do that too at home. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
It's nice. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Come chill.
Yeah.
Have a draft party with us.
Yeah. Have grab a beer, grab a pizza, and sit on down.
Especially if you are a fan of a bad team, this is like your Super Bowl. It's wonderful.
It really is.
It's very enjoyable.
It gives you hope.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening, watching, and more so listening, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
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 I had to do this in Whoop.